Crystal chandeliers cast amber light across white linen, the soft clink of silverware against porcelain. A sommelier presents a bottle of 1961 Château Latour to a table of six, three couples whose combined net worth could purchase a small nation. ELENA VOLKOV, 24, moves between tables with practiced invisibility. Her dark hair is pulled back severely. Her uniform, crisp white shirt, black vest, makes her indistinguishable from the dozen other servers navigating the floor. Her eyes, however, miss nothing. She refills water glasses without being asked, clears plates at the precise moment guests finish. She is furniture, she is air, she is exactly what they expect her to be. At the host station, Marcus, the maitre d', snaps his fingers twice. ELENA approaches. Marcus private room 4, VIP, Russian delegation, $30 million acquisition tonight. They specifically requested a server who speaks Russian. ELENA's expression doesn't change, but something flickers behind her eyes. ELENA, I wasn't aware that was on my file. Marcus, it wasn't. I heard you on the phone last week. Don't worry, and I'm not reporting anything. I just need someone in there who can make them comfortable. Big tips, play nice. He hands her a leather folder containing the evening's menu. She takes it without expression. What Marcus doesn't know, what no one at Aurelius knows, is that ELENA VOLKOV holds a PhD in Slavic linguistics from Columbia University, that she speaks 7 languages fluently, that her dissertation on dialectal variations in 19th century Russian literature was nominated for the Pushkin Prize. What no one knows is that she graduated 18 months ago, $300,000 in debt, into a job market that had no use for her, that her mother's cancer treatment consumed everything, that the funeral was 4 months ago, that the hospital bills keep coming, that her apartment is a converted closet in Washington Heights, that she eats staff meals because she cannot afford groceries. ELENA pushes through the swinging doors into the service corridor. She pauses at a small mirror, adjusts her collar, stares at her reflection. She thinks of her mother, who fled Leningrad in 1979 with nothing but her daughter's education as her dream, who cleaned hotel rooms for 20 years so ELENA could attend the best schools, who died believing her daughter would become a professor, a scholar, someone who mattered. ELENA, to herself, barely audible. Prosti меня, mama. I'm sorry, mama. She straightens, composes herself, becomes invisible again. She walks toward private room 4. The private dining room is a temple of wealth. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlook Central Park. A Rothko hangs on the far wall. Not a print, the original. The table seats 8, but only 5 chairs are occupied. At the head sits Harrison Blackwell III, 62, American, old money made older by new money, tech billionaire, art collector. His face has the weathered confidence of a man who has never been told no. To his right, Dmitry Sorokin, 55, Russian oligarch, thick-necked, wearing a watch worth more than most apartments. His English is fluent but accented. Beside Dmitry, Dr. Viktor Petrov, 48, thin, nervous, adjusting his glasses repeatedly. He carries a leather portfolio thick with documents. Across from them, Jonathan Mercer, 45, Blackwell's attorney, and Catherine Shaw, 38, his art acquisitions advisor. ELENA enters silently. She moves to the sideboard, begins preparing water service. No one acknowledges her. Blackwell, 30 million is my final offer. The Fabergé collection is impressive, but the provenance concerns me. Dmitry, Mr. Blackwell, I assure you, the collection has been in my family for generations, since before the revolution. ELENA pours water. Her hand is steady. Her ears are sharper. Dr. Petrov, opening his portfolio. I have prepared complete documentation. Letters from the imperial court, export permits from the Soviet era, authentication certificates from 3 independent experts. He slides documents across the table. Catherine Shaw examines them with practiced scrutiny. Catherine. The letterhead appears authentic, 19th century. The Romanov seal is correct. ELENA moves to clear an appetizer plate. As she does, her eyes catch the document, just a glimpse, a single line of Russian text. Her breath catches, but she says nothing, does nothing. She is invisible. Дмитрий in Russian to Petrov. Этот американец глотает все как дурак. Еще один идиот, который думает, что деньги делают его умным. This American swallows everything like a fool. Another idiot who thinks money makes him smart. Petrov smirks. ELENA's face remains perfectly neutral. She refills Dmitry's wine glass. Dmitry, continuing in Russian. Посмотри на эту официантку. Наверное, думает, что мы говорим о чаевых. Это место подает крыс. The service here is rodent. Petrov laughs quietly. Elena's hand does not tremble. She steps back, waits. Blackwell. Is there something amusing? Dmitri, smoothly. Nothing. Dr. Petrov was simply remarking on how pleased my grandmother would be to see her treasures going to such a distinguished collector. Jonathan Mercer slides a contract across the table. Mercer. If we're all satisfied with the authentication, I suggest we proceed. The wire transfer can be initiated tonight. Blackwell picks up his pen. $30 million hovers over the signature line. Elena stands motionless by the sideboard, but inside her mind, a storm is building. The document. She saw it for only a moment. A letter, allegedly from the imperial court, dated 1896. But something was wrong. Something her trained eye caught that Catherine Shaw's expensive education had missed. She moves to collect empty wine glasses, passes behind Dr. Petrov. The portfolio is open. She sees another document, then another, her dissertation. 3 years of her life spent analyzing the evolution of Russian orthography, the reforms of 1918, the letters that were eliminated, the spellings that changed, the words that ceased to exist. She sees it now, clear as daylight. The letter uses mir, spelled with the post-revolutionary I instead of the pre-revolutionary I desiderichne, a mistake no authentic 1896 document would contain. The spelling reform of 1918 hadn't happened yet. She notices more. The word fabrica, factory, spelled in the modern way. In 1896, it would have been fabrica with the hard sign at the end, the that Soviet reformers eliminated. Whoever forged these documents knew Russian, but they didn't know 19th century Russian. They didn't understand that the language itself was different before the revolution. That spelling was a timestamp. Elena's heart pounds. She sets down the wine glasses. Her hands are steady, but her mind is racing. $30 million, a forgery, a fraud. And she is the only person in this room who can see it. Blackwell's pen touches paper. He begins to sign. She thinks of her mother, of the hospital bills, of the debt collectors, of the studio apartment with the broken radiator. She thinks of what speaking up will cost her. This job, any reference, any future in a city that runs on connections she doesn't have. She thinks of staying silent, of watching a man lose $30 million to criminals who called her a rat, who laughed at her, who assumed she was nothing. She thinks of her mother's voice. Pravda всегда побеждает. Truth always wins. Elena sets down her tray. She steps forward. The room doesn't notice her. She clears her throat. Elena. Excuse me. No one looks up. Blackwell continues signing. Elena, louder, Mr. Blackwell. I need you to stop. The room freezes. Every head turns. Dmitri's face darkens with irritation. Catherine Shaw looks confused. Mercer appears ready to call security. Blackwell, pen hovering. I'm sorry, what? Dmitri, to the room. Who is this person? Why is the waitress speaking? Elena, because the documents you're about to pay $30 million for are forgeries. And I can prove it. Silence. Absolute silence. Dmitri's face goes pale, then red. Dmitri, rising, voice sharp. This is absurd. Mr. Blackwell, I apologize for this interruption. Clearly your establishment has staffing problems. Mercer, standing. I'll have her removed immediately. Blackwell, holding up a hand. Wait. Something in his voice stops the room. He looks at Elena, really looks at her for the first time. Blackwell. You said you can prove it. Prove it. Dmitri Harrison. This is ridiculous. She's a waitress. Blackwell. She's someone who's willing to risk her job to tell me I'm about to make a $30 million mistake. That's interesting enough to hear. He gestures to Elena. She steps to the table, picks up the first document, the letter from the imperial court. Elena. This letter is dated March 1896. It's written in Russian, but it's written in post-1918 Russian. Catherine. I don't understand. Elena. In 1918, the Bolsheviks implemented a spelling reform. They eliminated 4 letters from the Russian alphabet, changed the rules for the hard sign, modernized dozens of word spellings. She points to a line on the document. Elena. Here, the word mir, peace. It's spelled with the letter I. But in 1896, it would have been spelled with I, the letter I desiderichne. This letter was eliminated in 1918. No document from the imperial court would contain this spelling. Dr. Petrov, scoffing a minor detail. Perhaps a later transcription. Elena, cutting him off. It's not a transcription. Look at the letterhead, the ink. You're presenting this as an original. And here, she picks up another document. ELENA. The word fabrica. Factory. No hard sign at the end. In pre-revolutionary Russian, masculine nouns ending in a consonant took the hard sign. Always. This is elementary. Anyone who studied authentic 19th century documents would know this. Dr. Petrov is sweating now. Dmitri's composure is cracking. Dmitri. This woman is not an expert. She's Elena in perfect aristocratic Russian. Я написала диссертацию по дореволюционной русской орфографии в Колумбийском университете. Я изучала подлинные документы Романовых в архивах Санкт-Петербурга. Я знаю разницу между настоящим и подделкой. I wrote my dissertation on pre-revolutionary Russian orthography at Columbia University. I studied authentic Romanov documents in the archives of St. Petersburg. I know the difference between real and fake. Dmitri's face has gone gray. Dr. Petrov looks like he might vomit. Elena, continuing in English. And Mr. Sorokin, I understood every word you said earlier, about Mr. Blackwell being a fool, about this restaurant serving rats, about me being beneath your notice. She sets the documents down. Elena, the only rats in this room are sitting at this table, trying to steal $30 million with documents they bought from a forger who didn't do his research. Blackwell slowly sets down his pen. He picks up the documents, examines them with new eyes. Blackwell to Catherine. Did you know about the spelling reforms? Catherine, pale. No. I studied the seals. The paper quality, the signatures. I didn't. Elena. You studied what they wanted you to study, the surface. But language never lies. Language is a fingerprint of time. Dmitri, standing abruptly. This is slander. I will have my lawyers. Blackwell, cold. Sit down. The command is quiet but absolute. Dmitri hesitates, then slowly sinks back into his chair. Blackwell to Mercer. Call the FBI, Art Fraud Division, and get the name of a forensic. Document examiner who specializes in Russian historical materials. Mercer. Immediately. Dmitri rises again, this time heading for the door. Dr. Petrov scrambles to gather his Blackwell to security who have arrived. These gentlemen are not to leave the building until the authorities arrive. Dmitri. You can't do this. I have diplomatic... Blackwell. You have nothing, and when the FBI finishes their investigation, I suspect they'll find this isn't the first collection you've tried to sell with forged provenance. Dr. Petrov drops his portfolio. Documents scatter across the floor. He looks at Dmitri with barely concealed terror. Dr. Petrov to Dmitri in Russian. Я говорил тебе. Я говорил, что документы были не идеальны. Dmitri, snarling, Заткнись, Elena, to Blackwell. He just admitted the documents weren't perfect and told him to shut up. Two security guards flank Dmitri and Petrov, escorting them toward the door. Dmitri pauses, turns back to Elena. Dmitri, venomous. You've made a powerful enemy tonight, little waitress. Elena, calmly. I've had worse. And I'm not little. I'm invisible. You just learned the difference. The door closes behind them. The room is silent. Catherine Shaw is still staring at the documents, humiliated. Mercer is on his phone with the FBI. The room has emptied. Catherine has left in shame. Mercer is downstairs with authorities. Only Blackwell and Elena remain. He sits at the head of the table. She stands by the window, looking out at Central Park. The Rothko glows behind them. Blackwell! Who are you? Elena turns. For the first time all evening, she allows herself to truly look at him. To be seen. Elena. My name is ELENA VOLKOV. I have a PhD in Slavic linguistics from Columbia. My specialty is historical Russian dialects and orthographic analysis. I speak 7 languages. I've studied in St. Petersburg, Vienna, and Prague. Blackwell. And you're working as a waitress because... Elena. Because my mother got cancer during my final year of graduate school. Because I deferred my fellowship to care for her. Because hospital bills don't accept dissertations as payment. Because when she died, I had a PhD and $300,000 in debt and no connections and no references and no way back into a world that had moved on without me. Her voice doesn't waver. Her eyes don't look away. Elena, I'm working as a waitress because the world looks at someone like me and sees a uniform. Not a mind, not a lifetime of study. Just hands that pour water and clear plates and disappear. Blackwell is silent for a long moment. When he speaks, his voice is different. Softer. Blackwell, my grandfather was a coal miner. Did you know that? Everyone sees old money. Nobody knows he crawled out of a mine in Pennsylvania with a 3rd-grade education and built an empire because nobody would give him a chance. So he made his own. He stands, walks to the window beside her. Blackwell, you just saved me. $30 million. More importantly, you saved me from being made a fool of by people who thought I was too rich to be smart. That's worth something. ELENA, I wasn't looking for a reward. I just couldn't watch it happen. Blackwell, I know, that's what makes it worth something. Blackwell, I collect art, obviously. I also collect manuscripts, historical documents, first editions, things with provenance, real provenance, that tell the story of civilization. He turns to face her. Blackwell, I need someone who can do what you just did. Someone who can look at a document and see through time. Someone who speaks the languages I don't speak. Someone who can tell me when I'm about to be robbed and when I'm about to find something real. ELENA, you have Catherine Shaw. Blackwell, Catherine Shaw studied art history at Yale. You studied language as history. There's a difference. Tonight proved it. He reaches into his jacket, pulls out a card. Blackwell, I'm offering you a position, Director of Linguistic Authentication for the Blackwell Collection. $200,000 a year to start, full benefits, a research budget, access to every archive in the world, and a team to build, however you see fit. ELENA stares at the card. Her hand doesn't reach for it. ELENA, I have conditions. Blackwell, amused. Most people just say thank you. ELENA, I'm not most people. You just learned that. Blackwell, name them. ELENA, first, I have final say on authenticity. If I say it's fake, it's fake. No overrides, no pressure. Blackwell, done. ELENA, second, I want to establish a scholarship, the ELENA Volkov Fellowship for Slavic Studies at Columbia. $50,000 a year in perpetuity for students from immigrant families studying linguistics. Blackwell's expression shifts. Something like respect deepens in his eyes. Blackwell, your mother, ELENA. She cleaned hotel rooms so I could study. She deserves to be remembered as someone who made scholars. Blackwell, done. Anything else? ELENA, third. When I walk into a room, any room, I'm introduced as Dr. Volkov, not your assistant, not your consultant, your equal, and people will know it. Blackwell extends his hand. Blackwell, Dr. Volkov. Welcome to the Blackwell Collection. ELENA takes his hand, shakes it, strong, certain. She picks up her serving tray from the sideboard, looks at it for a long moment, then sets it down. Forever.